Well, let's get to the business side of things, and I've got a couple of small business owners with me right now. We've got Michael Bain, the Bongaree Hot Bread, is that right, Michael? Yeah, and also Richard Kiss from Annie Lane Cafe, just around the corner. Two great institutions on Bribie Island, if you're ever here, folks. Richard, I'll start with you. So just over the past 3 years or so, just how difficult has the business environment been here?
Extremely difficult to navigate, especially with not only for the cost of living for private citizens, but for also small businesses. Our costs overall the past 3 to 4 years probably gone up overall 35 to 40%.
So what does that mean in dollar terms, would you say, a rough estimate?
Oh, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
It just makes you question whether it is actually all worth it. All the 60 to 70 hour work weeks, combine that with slow trade, the extra stress of actually running a small business, questioning whether you're doing the right thing, it does make it very difficult.
And those expenses, are they across the board? Is that, insurance, wages, energy bills, everything? Is there any particular point that stands out?
It's everything across the board. The biggest one for myself personally, because we employ 30 staff across 3 different stores in the Moreton region, the biggest one is work cover insurance, which is you absolutely have to cover for any incidents that may happen with your staff. Last year, our work cover insurance alone was $18,000. That's an increase, I think, roughly about 12% from the previous year.
Wow. Michael, just back to the start here, how difficult have things been for you over the past 3 years?
I agree with Richard, it's been quite difficult. Our biggest concern is the cost of electricity. It's gotten to a point now that we can no longer produce bread because we're now making bread at a loss. So in order to alleviate those costs, we've just stopped making bread altogether. Now we have 15 kilowatts of solar panels, and yet our electricity bill, even after the bread production has ceased, is still about $15,000 a quarter.
So $15,000 a quarter is your energy bill.
And if we were to pass on the costs for the loaf of bread, the true cost of a loaf of bread to customers would be about $8.50 a loaf. And we can't compete with the supermarkets who deliberately sell their bread at a loss around $2.30 a loaf, so we've just had to bite the bullet and stop making it.
They're killing you.
Yeah.
And what about other factors as well? Like we were just talking about wages, etc. Is that a big factor for you, or is that?
Well, it's unfair for the worker. The worker still needs to earn a living, and they've got to find a way to compensate for the cost of livings within society. So you can't deny a worker a true wage, but wages do kill us as a small business.
What do you do? 15 grand. There's 15 grand extra you got to find. So what do? You just got to jack up the price of everything, do you?
Well, we can't. Like I said, we can't pass those prices on. $8.50 no one to buy a loaf, so we just stop
wear
making it. Yeah.
This must make and you've got to raise prices as well, right? Coffees, sandwiches, whatever.
Yeah, well, if you look at it from the true price, like, sorry, what was your name again? Mick. Mick was saying about the true cost of a loaf of bread is $8.
Yeah.
Well, the true cost of a price of coffee, if we were going to make any sort of margin on it, any sort of profit on it, would be $10. $10 for a coffee.
That's what it would be for you guys.
You got to add in
exactly.
Yeah. You got to add into a coffee your rent, your GST, your cup, your coffee, the barista that made it, the milk. And that's a holistic factor of it. That is the true cost of it. But you cannot pass that on to your customer because they're not going to pay for it. So then you're going to have a downturn in your customer. So
what are you selling the coffee for now?
Oh, a small coffee is $5.
Yeah.
$5.50. Then you got your alternative milk. So. But
isn't that a staggering state of play, isn't it? That for you to be able to function properly, you should be charging customer for $10 for a coffee.
Exactly, you should be,
but people won't.
People are not going to buy it.
No.
So then you're out of business.
And is this the same for like sandwiches or whatever else you might?
It's everything.
So you've got to jack up the prices elsewhere.
Yeah, and you have to look into it in fine detail, every single item that you buy. What sort of quality is it? What sort of price I can get for it? And how can I pass on that increase of cost onto our consumer, which is damn near impossible.
Shadow Treasurer is about to join us in the program. If there's one wish that you would have for our politicians to focus on that would make running a small business a hell of a lot easier than it is right now, what would it be?
There's so many different aspects and points, and it's very nuanced in regards to small business and how you could solve this issue. One big particular thing that I find is really hard to navigate as a small business owner, and I do the managerial side of it, is the Fair Work Commission. It is so convoluted, there is so much grey area, and even when you do contact the Fair Work Commission, they have no answers for you. You can be on hold for half an hour, then you'll get someone that was talking to you and they don't even know the actual answer, and they'll pass you on. So then what you have to do, you actually have to employ and pay for HR, which is very expensive, because they're the ones that navigate it and they're the one that know the rules for it.
Michael, anything that would make things easier for you?
One thing for me would be for politicians to look at subsidised electricity, particularly for those who are in the food manufacturing business and also material manufacturing businesses. That's probably the biggest expense for people that produce things is electricity. We could look at having subsidised electricity to significantly help our business.
Okay. Is it worth running a business in 2025, a small business?
Over the past 6 months, my wife and I, we have questioned it a lot. We do hear from a lot of people, especially a lot of small businesses, that are closing their doors because they can just go get a government job and they can be far better off with more security. So,
blame anyone at the moment?
I don't blame anyone. Like, you could go back to 2020, 2021 during the COVID pandemic, when the Australian government's printed $300 billion, caused the inflation to go through the roof. So, but
any blame for you at the moment, Mick, or keep quiet on it?
I'll keep quiet. Yeah.
Fair enough. Michael and Richard, really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so much for joining us and sharing your stories with us. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with that. And small business is the lifeblood of this country, and you're hearing stories all the time about thousands of businesses that are going under. I hope you guys don't, though. I hope you can survive. And anyway, we'll try and get some answers now from the Shadow Treasurer. Appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so much.